check it out. Isn't this just the cutest little thing? So this here is a IHI IS7GX. Tiny little thing. So I bought this off a buddy of mine. Super cheap. Cheaper than you can buy one of them cheap Chinese excavators. Yeah, cheaper than that yet. This one's got a diesel in it. I don't know a whole lot about it. He said it runs. He used to use it for his excavating business, but he don't use it anymore. And asked if I wanted to buy it. So let's give this thing a good once over and see what it's all about. I don't know if you can tell or not, but it's on and off raining today, and I got done with my job early, so figured we'd do a little bit of shop work. So now that it's a little bit drier and warmer in here, get a better look at this thing. So as you can see, it's on a plastic pallet. It's similar in size. Oh boy. Look out. Dog on a mission. Anyway, it's similar in size to one of them Chinese excavators you can buy, and like the ones I've done a video on before. The only big difference is this is Japanese, and generally Japanese stuff is a lot better. Guess Marley decided she wanted to play ball. So this is an IHI, which I actually own another IHI excavator, and they're very good machines. They don't seem to be super popular, and I believe they are bought out by Kato now. Excuse me, dog, I'm trying to film here. So the hour meter says 1247.4 hours. I'm not sure if that works or not. It might. I mean, that's a lot of time to put on a little machine like this. It's got rubber tracks, nice little tooth bucket, a push blade that somebody welded a cutting edge to, and it sticks out about 6 inches wider on each side. Be honest with you, I don't really like that, but they got a lot of weld on there. So we might just torch that flush, or maybe torch at a little angle, maybe. I don't know, to be determined. I mean, for a little machine, it's fairly tight. Got a little play down there, nothing wild. Now here's the interesting part. It's not a Briggs & Stratton or a clone Honda down here. Well, it is a Honda, but it's a diesel Honda. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't know if I've ever seen a Honda diesel motor before. But there it is. So I don't know what model Honda diesel this is, or I don't really have any other information on it. This chart here just tells you what weight oil to run in it. And I'm sure there's a serial tag on it somewhere, but I'd have to guess it's buried somewhere on the other side of the motor or behind the starter. But it's a single cylinder Honda diesel. Let's just hope it runs. Like I said, my buddy said it did run, so I'd have to imagine it does. I mean, you'd think your friend wouldn't sell you something that doesn't run, right? We've got a battery. Those are the smallest battery terminals. Well, they're not tight. Those are the smallest battery terminals I've ever seen. Oh, it's not even held down. Okay. I've got the LED lighting package too. Huh. Looks like somebody put it on there and never finished it. Alright, let's take some dimensions so you guys can get an idea of how small this thing actually is. I mean, you see the pup there, and she's a, I'd say medium-sized dog, but got a 12-inch bucket basically. Tracks are 7 inches wide. The whole machine is less than 30 inches wide. You could probably drive this through your living room door. If my wife wouldn't kill me, I would do it. We might try driving it through a door though. That's tempting. The width from the blade. Come on now. Easy. So the overall width, right around 5 feet with the track frame. And as far as the weight, so I'm assuming the 7 means 0.7 metric tons. A metric ton, I believe, is 2,200 pounds because a metric ton is 1,000 kilograms. So 0.7 metric tons. Let's figure that out real quick because I can't do that math in my head right now. So 2,200 times 0.7, 1,540 pounds. Now 1,000 times 0.7, so for you metric folks, 700 kilograms. I don't know why I did that. I could have done that in my head. So obviously it's no chore for that Takeuchi to pick up, but this could be a super handy machine if I got to do, say, a sump pump or something. I can drive in the basement door and dig a hole, or, I mean, geez, I could hook a shackle to it and almost lower it down in a hole. I mean, 1,500, say, let's just say 1,600 pounds. I'm pretty sure all of my excavators, except for my other IHI, I mean, even the other IHI might lift this. It just might be too tall. But I know all the other ones will lift it. So we have to do some experimenting with lifting this machine. See how it picks, see how even it is. But for now, let's dig in to see if this thing runs and see what we can find. Actually, before that, I got something else to show you guys real quick. So remember how I said this is the only Honda diesel I've ever seen? Well, I've actually got a second one that came with it. I believe this is the same motor, and it says GD320. Now, my buddy said this one does not run, but, well, check this out. This thing runs amazing. Oh, that 2 pools and it's probably about 30 degrees out. So yeah, this thing runs really good. This has some sort of generator on it, but it's only it's like a 2432 volt alternator. I don't really know what this would have been used for, but it does put current out because I didn't bother making any sort of video on this. I mean, even though it's kind of cool, like I just gave it a couple yanks when I unloaded it, and I'm like, man, this thing runs pretty good. And I told him it runs good, and he didn't believe me, but yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I believe it's the same motor that's in that excavator. So worst case scenario, we'll put this motor in that excavator, but I'm kind of thinking with a 24-volt generator, or alternator, I guess, brushless alternator. I'm wondering if this was some sort of like starter, like, you know, you mount it on a truck and you got dead buses or trucks, and they would have had a big set of leads on this, and they'd use this to start vehicles that were dead. I don't know a whole lot about electricity like that. It puts out 80 amps, so it's a decent size alternator for 24 volt. But I was kind of thinking about, well, you know, 24 volts, you could use it for like some sort of off-grid generator. You know, if you did something with solar panels, or even just something low voltage like LED lighting or whatever, you could just fire this up. It's kind of quiet, just put it far away. And so I'm just kind of rambling anyway, but I thought it was kind of cool. I had to show you this and how well this thing runs. I'm just looking right here. 7 horsepower, 6 horsepower, 3,600 RPM. It's interesting. Anyway, back to the excavator. Oh, and one of the reasons I want that little excavator is, this is my old barn here. And I did a video digging this out once with a skid steer and actually my IHI excavator. But my IHI excavator is a little too big for in here. But that little guy I just got, we should be able to clean these edges all up. And so I want to get this dug out deep enough that I can get in here easily with a skid loader. The JCB fits in here, but the Takeuchi won't fit under this center beam. I want to make this easy enough to get in here and dig out with skid loader, so when I get beef animals again, we can have this set up. I'll put like a feed alley in the back there, and then right in here is where the animals will actually be. We gotta demo all that, but anyway, let's get back to the shop. Tucked back in the corner of the shed here is my IHI 28J, which is actually the first mini excavator I ever bought for my business. It doesn't go out a whole lot, but it's got a nice life here living in a shed. Alright, well, I guess we want to take the battery out. Well, let's see if we can jump it this way. See if it cranks over. And then we're going to need a battery for it, because I can't imagine that one's any good. Plus I want to change those terminals over to something, you know, more normal. I'd like to change oil on it too. But I'm not sure if it's got an oil filter or not. Got oil fill. I know this thing's like a lawnmower engine, but diesel. So I guess we're gonna hook the Goodall starter up to this thing. This thing will literally start anything. It's basically got an insane amount of cranking amps. Let's crank it. Oh, we got signs of life there, fuel pump's on. Let's crank it over, make sure it's, I don't know, spinning. Here's the fuel. Okay, it's getting there. We need to, well, let's crank it a little longer. It's telling me that I need to turn the jumper off, turn it back on. So it's getting fuel. Let's crack this injector. Maybe it's not getting enough fuel. Alright. Turn this back on. I think Marley just exited the building. She knows how to open the door now. So I gotta go find her. Hey. Why are you trying to leave? The fun's just starting. So I've got all these type door handles on my shop because if you're carrying something, you can just click that and get in real easy. But as you can tell by the scratch marks, Marley's figured out how to open the door. All she does is click it and push the door open. So that's fun. Alright, so we had plenty of fuel coming out of the injector, so let's try this again. Yeah, I got this tight. Yeah, okay. It's a little smoky, but seems to be running good. I'm gonna shut it off now because I don't want to smoke the shop out. So I'm wondering if it was just airbound. It seemed like it took a little while to get the fuel up to the injector there. Gotta do some research on how this fuel system works. It's pretty simple. I think it's just a plunger type injection pump right to the fuel nozzle. So there really shouldn't be much that would cause it not to start. The smoke kind of leads me to believe that might be a fuel smoke, like an injector issue. However, it looks like somebody's been here before, because this looks like a newer injector. It's not super recent, but you can tell it's not the same age as the rest of the engine. So maybe we'll have to dig into that a little bit more, but I think for now I'm going to get the battery out. And this hood, this is as far as it opens up. I think I'm going to see if we can take the pin out of that strut there and maybe get this to flip open more so we can actually see in here a little bit easier without crawling through this little gap. Looks like there's just a hairpin clip. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I just gotta make sure that doesn't come down and guillotine us. I got bad luck. We're gonna do something to hopefully prevent us from getting squished. That should hold. So I guess let's remove the battery. Since the hold down wasn't doing much. And the terminals aren't very tight. Hitachi Chemical Corporation. Man, Hitachi really did make everything. I want to take a peek at this air cleaner here too. Also looks like there's a lot of oil residue under it. So maybe that'll be like a smoking gun to our fuel issue. Let's see what this air cleaner looks like first. Nothing special. Got a little bit of a dust separator in the bottom. So I guess my buddy wasn't lying when he said it did run. Oh, actually, might not be too bad. Oh yeah, it's actually in pretty good shape. Maybe we'll just take this outer thing. Even his outer filter is not too bad. I don't even know if I'm gonna clean that. There's quite a bit of oil around this injection pump area. See down there, a lot of wetness. This looks like might be leaking right there. Which if it's leaking right there, you're gonna lose your fuel prime for sure. Maybe we can tighten that up. Maybe I should just try and clean that off quick and see if it keeps leaking from there. It's definitely wet there. Alright, so it looks like it's leaking around this. So this is on a single cylinder diesel like this. This is actually your injection pump. It's just basically a plunger pump that shoots high pressure fuel through the line up to your injector. Now, it looks like it's leaking around the base of this piece. And I think this is like a delivery valve holder. I'd like to take this off. I think first we're going to try and tighten it up a little bit. See if that makes a difference. And that part was probably important. Oh. Alright, yeah, we got a little bit out of that. So I'm going to actually loosen the injection pump line. See if I can tighten that up a little more. I'm assuming that's got like a copper crush washer in there. So we should be able to snug that down. The reason I'm loosening this injection line is this line has like a flared type fitting and you'll twist the line. Alright, so we loosen that up. Let's see if we can torque this down a lot more. Yeah, okay. Alright. I'd say we got about 1/8 of a turn out of that. I could probably crank it down a little tighter, but I think we're gonna let that go. I think that's good enough. Now I'm curious to see if it starts any better. By loosening this line, we would have lost our prime to the injector and introduced air into the system. But, okay. Well, we'll just monitor that. I think before I go and put a battery back in this, I want to try and power wash that out and clean that up. But I think for now, you know, we should probably see if this thing even functions. Maybe get it off the pallet. So I'm just going to hook my normal jump pack up to this. This thing's nothing fancy. Puts out like 13.5 volts. It'll start most cars and stuff, but it's not wild like that good old startle. That thing's wild. So, all right. But this one's nice because it's actually a battery. I mean, that one is too, but this one will never tell you to shut it off and send warnings. So. All right. Well, here goes nothing. I don't think this one's gonna do it. Get this this injector blade out. Alright. Got fuel there. Okay. Thing's not happy. smoke seems cleared up a little bit. Seems to run pretty good. It's set up in backup control, so that's a plus. I know that'll trigger some people, but you know, when you learn a certain way, it's what you do. If I didn't know better, I'd say it's knocking. But I think that's just how it sounds. I mean, it's possible it's got a knock. To be honest with you, I don't know better because I've never been around one of these little Honda diesels, but I think that's just how it sounds. Well, so far I'm happy with it. I think we gotta get a new battery for it. And then we can go put it to some work. I'm gonna look into see if I can learn more about this fuel system on this machine. I think something's not quite right there. I don't know if it may be, I don't know if the injection pump's bad, or the injector's bad, one of the two, or maybe it's just a supply issue. Another more simple approach is either the fuel filter's clogged up or it's got bad fuel in it. So far, like I said, I'm happy. It runs, it works, drives, spins around, and the main thing is, unlike the Chinese excavators, this one's pretty strong. You can wiggle it around, and you know it's not going to fall apart just by running it like those ones do. And yeah, so. But by the way, we only paid $1,500 for this too, so I don't think you can go wrong with $1,500. I know one thing, it definitely needs a good power washing. It is filthy inside that engine bay. I just gotta know, does the LED light work? Oh boy. Look out, night shift, here we come. You know, in all fairness, I make fun of that light, but I might have to mount a couple more on there because that barn's pretty dark in there. This one will at least shine where you're working, and maybe somehow mount another one somewhere else on it where it's not going to get smashed. But another consideration for that barn project is we need a lot of good ventilation. By at least one fan pulling air out and one fan blowing air in. Because I have a feeling, oh look at that. I have a feeling this thing's gonna stink. So I'm trying to figure out things I can do with this until I get a battery. And it looks like it's been greased pretty well. I mean, there's plenty of grease around all the joints. And I guess we could go through and hit them all again, but I don't know. I think it's okay on the grease standpoint there. Guess we could wire that light in a little bit better. Got a lot of extra wire here. We're gonna snip that short. We don't need all that. Now let's see. Get that peeled back. Same thing over here. Got a lot of wire there. Of course. Got some heavy gauge wire for this little light. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is not one of those cheap auction Chinese excavators. Okay. Now, does it work? Oh yeah. So I tried tightening this down, which I believe is like a delivery valve holder. I'm not sure. I may be wrong on that. But it's still very wet around the bottom of that. I think I'm going to spray this down with some degreaser and hose this off. I think I'm going to try and take this apart. Remove the whole fuel injection pump assembly. Because I think that's the root of our problem here with the hard starting. Let that sit for a bit and we'll hose it off. I think that's about as clean as I'm going to get it around there. So I'm going to let this dry off and we'll be back to pull this injection pump out. Alright, well now that everything here is dried off, we can clearly see, well maybe you can't clearly see, but around the bottom of this base here, there's some more fuel residue coming out of there. So I think I'm going to throw you guys on a time lapse here, or at least speed this up. I'm going to pull this pump out of here and we're going to go take it apart and see what we can figure out. Alright, so we got this little injection pump out of here. So this here's what controls, this is basically your fuel rack. That controls how much fuel is pushed out through there. And really I don't see any problems here other than this seal right there. Which it looks like it's a copper washer, it's been crushed in there. So I think we're going to start by just taking this off. Because I think if we take this off, we're going to get into springs and stuff we don't want to mess with. So let's pull this off. Funny thing I just noticed. Can you guys tell me what's wrong with these bolts? Right there. That's a 5-sided bolt. So I don't think we're going to be taking those off because I don't have a 5-sided socket. But this, we can definitely take that off. So normally when they put something like that it means you're not supposed to get down there, or they don't want you to get down there. So we're going to do exactly as they want and not go down there. Pull that off. This is what we tried to tighten on the machine already. So, oh boy. There we go. Looks like just this square O-ring is what seals that. Alright, so I'm messing around with this O-ring here, and I don't know if you're going to be able to tell or not, but this thing is just all dry rotted. So I think we're going to take our chances, and I think this was originally a round O-ring. But we'll get that cleaned up a little bit and we'll put a new O-ring in there. I'm going to try and just clean that surface up a little bit. We got a rag stuff down in there, you can kind of see there. If I'm thinking about this right, that's got to be our issue. Because if we're losing prime here, letting air in here, that's going to have to reprime that every time. You're basically got to crack your injector every time to get that to seal up. It's looking a lot better now. Alright. I think we're going to call that good. Make the stand on there. think we're gonna leave it there. All right, this escalated a little bit. I put it back together and the rack wasn't really traveling the way I wanted it to. Now this plunger I can't get out. So we're gonna take the bottom of the pump out now. Well, that was fun. Do I have it back together correctly? I don't know. The only thing I can think of that I don't have back that could be wrong is, I don't know what exactly it'd be called. The quill, maybe? I don't know. It's like the piece in there that spins when you roll on this and flows fuel. That could be 180 degrees out, but I think it's the right way around. So, I don't know. This moves freely. This is cranked down real tight. Let's give it a shot. Alright, got the jumper pack hooked up. Fuel pump. So we can hear that going. Alright, we got more boost power here. Let's give that a shot. Okay, so if you've seen it spritzing fuel there, I was actually going backwards. So that means I got that quill in there wrong. If I spin it the wrong way around, it seems to fuel. The good news is, it is pumping fuel. We just gotta get that spun around so it's fueling in the right direction. All right. So you see that little nut right in there? That's what holds the main power lead to this starter on. And it's very difficult to get in there, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to video getting that off. But I'll let you know when I get it off. Yeah, these things, they're supposed to be one piece. Let's fix that. A couple ways to go about this. I have this tool that does this. So we're going to try that way first. Alright, watch your ears. That should do it. We use the old shop rag method. Works in a box wrench, works in a socket. But basically that nut is in there. You can engage the threads on the bolt or a stud and should work. That wasn't fun. But there you go. We got it. Had to use a combination of pry bar on the end of our ratchet wrench to keep tension on it so it ratchet. I guess the smaller the machine, the worse they are to work on. I think for now we're going to let this injection problem go. it does, when you get it running, it'll run all day long. There's no problems about it. It's just the initial cold start. It'll even restart nice. That's why I was thinking there's something leaking air into the system, but I think we've got actual worn out parts. And I have yet to be able to find any parts online. The only place I found what looked to be the right injection pump piece was a site called madeinchina.com, and you have to order like 100 of them. Granted, they only cost like $5, but I don't really need 100 injection pumps for this machine. If we're feeling really ambitious, maybe we'll pull the injection pump off that generator and try it on here. From my research, I realized that the GD320 and the GD410s both use the same injection pump and injector. Well, I don't have my new battery yet, but we can always try and hogger these terminals out a little bit. I don't really know if this one's going to work or not, because it's kind of split through, but we'll give it a shot. So far, not too bad, not too bad. Alright, I think we're going to have to just replace these. I don't know if that's going to work or not. Fortunately, battery terminals are a stock item, especially for little wire like this. So we'll just snip these off, strip them back, and put new ones on. All right, that's that. What can I say? I couldn't resist. That little motor runs so well that I had to try and make this one run that well. I mean, you just seen it. I shot it 31 degrees, 30 degrees. It was down in the single digits last night. And if I wouldn't have botched up that first and second pull on that, I mean, second pull, that thing would have been running. So let's swap the injection components off that one into this one and see if it makes a difference. If it doesn't, I'll just put it back on there and we'll move on with our lives. All right, you guys have seen me pull the injection pump and stuff out of the excavator. So I'm gonna throw you on a time lapse here, and I'll be back with you when we get everything swapped. The only differences I can see here, the one on the excavator says 94811. This one says 94614. That could just be a casting number. Other than that, the top of the pump, this one's only got one return line, whereas this one's got two. So we're just going to switch out this banjo here and just run this setup on this pump. Otherwise, it looks to be the same to me, so we're going to get that switched over, throw that in there, and see if it makes a difference. All right, we got the pump in there. We got the line off currently. Let's crank this over and see if we got a nice strong fuel pulse out of there or not. That should be a pretty much telltale sign of if this is going to help our cause or not. Alright, power on, fuel on, let that prime up for a little bit. Okay. Oh yeah. Look at that. That's what we want to see out of there. Let's crank this up. Turn that off. Get this cranked down. Oh man. Okay. Turn our attention up here. Crack this line. I thought something was a little weird before. Let's see if we get a nice fuel squirt out of here. Okay. Because the way that little generator engine just cool starts that nicely. Okay. All right, let's give her a go. Yeah, that's nice. Let's see if it'll restart that nice now. I think we just had a little bit of air in the line yet. There we go. That's how it's supposed to be. Alright, that definitely starts a lot better now. It kind of starts just like that did with Pool Start. As you can see, there's a layer of smoke in here. So I'm going to go eat some supper, but I'll be back with this shortly. I gotta see if I can find an injection pump now. Obviously it's not as crucial now because I don't have a use for that little generator, and this I have a use for. But if you guys happen to know where I can find one of them injection pumps, get you a little bit better look. It says 5100 there. 94811. Looks similar to this. Your fuel racks on the side here. I'm gonna have to do some digging. Maybe I can find one of these, but if you guys happen to know where I can get some of these or one of these for a Honda diesel engine, let me know down in the comments. So, I mean, as you can tell, these fuel lines are pretty bad shape. Got some new line. So down here I found this little fuel filter hiding. And I replaced it with a clear one. That was an interesting thing to change live. There's no fuel shutoff valve, so didn't make too much of a mess. But now we can see the condition of the fuel filter, and it'll run a little better too. Alright, well, next up, I think we need to get a battery for this thing. That's kind of been the elephant in the room here. We haven't really gotten one. We've been just running off a jumper. So let me see if I can try and find a battery for it, and then I think that's going to kind of wrap this repair up here. Look at that. Exact battery we needed with the standard type terminals. If you guys don't have a seconds battery dealer near you, you got to try and find one, because so Tractor Supply had a battery similar to this. They wanted $199. This was $85, and there's nothing wrong with it. So I recommend you try to find a seconds battery dealer. Save you a little bit of money, especially if you have a lot of equipment like I do. Batteries are a big expense. All right, we're gonna get this battery thrown in here. Yep, that's it. Okay. Battery hold downs are very important. I'm sure you guys already know, but come on. If something doesn't have battery tie downs, it's a very simple thing to put back. And generally, if somebody doesn't have battery tie downs on something, it's because they didn't care enough about it to actually use them again. There's that one. Negative terminal on there. So one of the dumb things I carry in my pocket all the time is a stubby 1/2-inch wrench. 1/2 inch is generally the size for all American battery terminal ends. Like I said, I got a lot of equipment, so I'm always doing something with batteries. Okay, batteries installed. Little piece of heater hose and some zip ties. It's an easy way to prevent a big headache. May not look the prettiest, but it's just gotta function. All right, see if she's gonna go. I got more work to do in the shop here. I normally wouldn't shut it off like that, but I don't want to smoke the whole shop out, and it's very cold outside, so I'm gonna call that a win. Put this hood prop back on. I almost forgot a crucial thing. I wanted to change the engine oil on this. So you can see we got the front of the machine up off the ground a little bit. And our drain plug is back here under the fill port. So I'm gonna get the right size socket and we're gonna pull that off and drain probably 2 quarts of oil out of this thing and put some fresh in it. It'll be a little hard for you guys to see, but trust me, it's not much better for me, but pop that out. This is gonna be a mess, I can tell you that much. So I was looking at the generator, trying to figure out if the dipstick location is the same, or if there's a possibility of a filter being in here. And that little generator's actually got a probe that goes in for like a oil heater. So I bet you that thing, I'd really like to know what the history is on that, but being that it's got that heater in there, I mean, you've seen how well this thing starts in like 15-degree weather. I mean, how cold does it have to be for that thing to need preheating the oil? But Anyway, I didn't find a filter, so I'm gonna assume they're just like a small lawnmower engine where there is no filter. But that looks like it's about done draining, so we'll throw the plug back in and throw some fresh oil in there. You can help change the oil? What do you think? You gonna help? Yes, yes, good bumpers. Looks pretty good to me. Pretty high up on the stick, so I think we're gonna call that good. Alright, so the generator. I put it back together with the weak injection pump. I didn't hook all the lines up, they're all still capped and everything, but I don't really have a use for this right now. And I have a use for the mini excavator. I did reach out to Area Diesel Service. We'll see if they're able to come up with something for this, but for right now I think this project's going to be on hold. If I'm able to get an injection pump before I finish filming the work I want to do with that, I will include it in this video, which you'll see shortly or towards the end. If not, whenever I do get it fixed, I'll either make a separate video on this and what I'm going to use this for, or just a short add-on to another video. But we're not abandoning this, we're not scrapping it for sure, because it's definitely good parts if nothing else. Right? That's a bit of a contrast. The biggest excavator I own and the smallest excavator I own. Little 12, 13-inch bucket. I think this bucket's 60 inches. Yeah, I believe that's 60 inches. It actually might be bigger than that. I don't know, I'd have to measure. I know it's probably around 6 foot. Anyway, as you can see, it's a little bit too cold to dig anything around here. You know what we do have plenty of? Snow. We can dig in that. Man, this thing would be great if you could take it to the beach. I doubt my wife would let me pack it in the carry-on bag though. So I think we're gonna have to leave it here. And this is the end of the video until we start digging the barn out. So you've seen us pull this thing off a pallet, fix it up, fix the injection pump, put a battery in it, go through a bunch of miscellaneous repairs. I mean, it really didn't need a whole lot. Fixing the injection pump was a big part. But yeah, this thing's job ready right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.